Hey everybody, Jeff here. So we're going to plant some tomatoes, and I'm going to do it in the containers. It's early February, but the amount of rain around here, and it's been 30 degrees, 40 degrees, 80 degrees every other day. So it's so inconsistent. So I'm going to do this in 5-gallon Home Depot buckets. And if you live in the South where it's still, can get to 70 degrees, this time of year you may want to try this. So what I've done is I've cut 4 holes at the bottom of this Home Depot bucket. I filled it with potting mix, and then I've also, as you'll see there, I've added extra perlite to create the drainage or increase the drainage within this. In addition, I've thrown a hodgepodge. I've thrown about 1/4 of a cup to 1/2 a cup of each of the following in here. So I've put in muriate of potash. I put in green sand, and I've put in, I believe, this bone and blood meal, and then some organic vegetable tomato food. And I'm gonna mix it up like a great concoction, and then I'm gonna plant the plants. So I'm gonna make sure that the tomato plants I get here get just a ton of nutrients. Keep in mind, if you're planting in containers with some good watering and good rain, within a month to 6 weeks, all the nutrients will be washed out of it. So I'm going to boost this up so I get some plump tomatoes. I'm going to be planting the dwarf tomatoes in here. I'll show you what they look like in a second, but this is kind of my concoction. And the great thing about this is I'll be able to bring it in the garage and put it out in the daytime if it's over 65, 70 degrees and sunny. If it's not, I'll just keep it in the garage. Obviously, they come with handles, so they're easy to move. I'll show you what everything looks like once it's planted. But I actually was at Home Depot, and I did see that they're selling a bunch of tomato plants. So it's kind of a waste, because if you live in Houston, we're still going to get cold between now and March 15th, and those plants will be dead. I think Depot makes a mistake, Lowe's and all the other, for selling these plants before the first frost date, because people are going to stick them in the ground, not in containers, and they'll be dead, because we're still going to get some frost. I think our frost end date in Houston, Texas is March 15th. So anyway, let me put this concoction together of nutrients and potting mix, show you what it looks like, and I'll plant the plants, and there you have it. Hang tight. All right, so this is what it looks like. This is the Alka, A-L-K-A, Polish dwarf. So I planted this on January 1st. It's a month later. I've gone from this container it grew out of, and it's in this container. So what I'm going to do is I've planted this in this bucket. Now, any type of tomato's got deep roots, a lot of roots. So they're going to need probably a 5-gallon container at most, at the very least, excuse me. And then when I planted it, I'm going to plant it pretty deep. So remember, with tomatoes, they got all these hairs here, and they will build roots if you cover it. So I'm going to plant this relatively deep. The dwarf plant, I think, gets 2 to 3 feet. I'm going to stake it up, and it's got plenty of nutrients right now. So that's one. There's another right there, and those are my 2 dwarf tomatoes. They should start producing tomatoes, I would imagine, in early March. So while it's still the potential of frost, I'll take it inside and outside. Give it sun when appropriate. Give it the appropriate amount of water. It's got the appropriate amount of nutrients. And we're just going to have a blast. So I'm going to cover these up. I'll get them both planted and come back, show you what it looks like. There we go, folks. 2 tomato plants planted in 5-gallon pots, loaded with nutrients, loaded with perlite, and quality potting mix. That's all she wrote. These are my first 2 tomato plants for soon-to-be spring 2019. And again, both of these are Alka Alka Polish dwarf plants. And hopefully they'll produce pretty good. That one's a little limp on the left. On the right, that was doing a little bit better. It should come back. Anyway, I'll keep you posted on this. Hopefully I will remember to take them out of the cold nights and out of the garage for the day. If I do so, I should have pretty much luck. More to come later. Hope you've enjoyed this quick episode. First tomatoes of the season on the Executive Gardener channel. Bye.